a pharmacist dispensing antiretroviral drugs in Nairobi. According to a new report from the United Nations, 21 million people globally are now getting life-prolonging AIDS drugs, but another 16 million H.I.V.infected people lack medication. MukoyaReuters Almost 21 million people around the world are now getting life-prolonging AIDS drugs, according to a report issued on Monday. But another 16 million people infected with HIV are not yet on medication. The report was released in South Africa by UNAIDS, the joint United Nations AIDS fighting agency. Antiretroviral triple therapy became standard in wealthy countries in 1996, but it took almost a decade for just 1 million people in poor countries to receive treatment. That happened only after generic drugs became available and donor organizations like the Global Fund to Fight AIDS, Tuberculosis and Malaria were created to pay for them. UNAIDS has set a goal called 909,090 by 2020. That is 90% of the world's H.I.V.infected people having had an HIV test, 90% of those who test positive having been prescribed drugs, and 90% of those prescribed drugs staying on them faithfully enough to have undetectable levels of the virus in their blood. After remarkable progress toward that goal, the world is now at 707,782, the agency said. But that means that only 44% of the world's H.I.V.infected people are virally suppressed, that is, that they are taking medication consistently enough to provide a nearly normal lifespan. By that measure, the countries doing best are Botswana, Britain, Cambodia, Denmark, Iceland, Singapore and Sweden. The report also notes a few cities doing especially well: Amsterdam, Melbourne, New York, Paris and San Francisco. Only 4 countries in Africa, where the epidemic has hit hardest, are getting drugs to even 75% of their citizens needing them: Botswana, Rwanda, Swaziland and Zimbabwe. The number of people dying of AIDS annually peaked in 2005, at about 2 million. Now, about half that number die each year, but AIDS is still the leading cause of death for women in their childbearing years. The number of AIDS orphans, children and teenagers whose parents have died, peaked at 20 million in 2009. It is declining but still stands at about 16 million.